Live from the Business RadioX studio inside Renaissance Bank, the bank that specializes in understanding you. It's time for North Fulton Business Radio.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of North Fulton Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and folks, this is going to be a great one. We have got Brett Matherne, the Associate Dean of the Mercer University School of Business, along with Jeff Wolfe. Jeff is the Director of the Center for Executive Education at Mercer, and this is going to be a really great show. I've been looking forward to this one. But before we get to our great guests, I want to remind you that we are broadcasting from Renaissance Bank, and Renaissance Bank is the place to go if you're tired of the mega bank experience. And if you're at one of those banks, you know what I'm talking about. They don't really want to talk to you live. They would prefer you talk to their computer, their AI-generated chat box or whatever. Here's the thing. The people that I refer to Renaissance, they come back and tell me that Renaissance is big enough to handle pretty much any need you can throw at them, but they're small enough to deliver their services in a personal way. And if that's this kind of banking service delivery that you want, then you need to check them out. Go to renaissancebank.com, find one of their local offices, and be in touch. I think you'll be glad you did. By the way, they answer their own phone there. Renaissance Bank, understanding you, member FDIC. And now I want to welcome Brett Matherne and Jeff Wolfe with the Mercer University School of Business, the Stetson-Hatcher School of Business. Brett is the Associate Dean, and he's also Associate Professor of Management, so he's working doubly hard. And Jeff Wolfe is working pretty hard as the Director of the Center for Executive Education. Brett, Jeff, welcome.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah, great to have both of you. Let's talk a little bit about those folks that aren't familiar with Mercer and need to hear more. Let's tell them what Mercer University is all about.
Well, thank you, John. Yeah, I'm happy to be here and share about Mercer University, especially with North Fulton business community. Mm-hmm. A lot of folks might not even recognize where Mercer is in the state of Georgia. And we've been delivering higher education for over 185 years in the state of Georgia. And what we've done in the last 20 to 25 years has been expanding our footprint. That's not only in business education, which Jeff and I are here to talk mainly about, but we want to talk about Big Mercer as well. Mm-hmm. Most people think of Mercer University as our residential undergraduate program, which is housed in Macon on a residential campus. But that's not the full extent of Mercer University. We have the largest medical school in the state of Georgia. We have health clinics throughout rural locations in Georgia to serve unserved populations, as well as our professional and graduate center here in Atlanta. So where Jeff and I reside and where we deliver our programs is right here in Atlanta, very conveniently located for our businesses in North Fulton.
I have to say, or I'm going to get in trouble with my wife. We were talking about before we came on about getting along with our wives. My wife has her doctorate in education from Mercer University, so she's been the bear or what have you. And so there's a great school of education as well. So let's just shout them out as well.
I'm glad you brought that up, John, because we do have 12 different schools and colleges within Mercer University. So sometimes people might think of us only in one dimension that they're aware of, but we're in law, we're in medicine, we're in professional counseling, we're in nursing, we're in pharmacy, we're in education, we're in engineering, we're in business, we're in music. So we have schools and colleges in all of those areas to serve the interests and needs of folks here in Georgia.
That's fantastic. Now, let's talk about the mission, because you take your mission statement pretty seriously.
Absolutely. And so what we see are 7 pillars of what our university should provide to our students in every program across all of those 12 schools and colleges. And what we want to provide is to teach, to learn, to create, to discover, to inspire, to empower, and to serve the greater community and society. And we want that embedded in every single degree program, from the undergraduates to the masters to the terminal degrees. So we, like you said, PhD in education. We offer PhD programs. We have a law school. We have a medical school. We have a pharmacy school. So even at those terminal degree levels, we are seeking to hit on those 7 pillars in our mission statement.
So let's get this to the business school, the Stetson-Hatcher School of Business, and talk about how the business school fits into that mission.
Yeah, so what we do is not only do we incorporate those 7 pillars in what we offer, we go a few steps beyond to say, what specifically do our business students need to have as a component to be effective in the business world of today? And some of the key areas that we're focusing more on, in addition to the excellent curriculum that we provide so that they have a foundational knowledge in the different disciplines of business, is to have deep relationship building skills. So sometimes in our digital world, we lose sight of how important direct communications are.
Right.
And so it's everything from what we're doing face to face, looking each other in the eye and being the real people that we are, but it's also understanding digital messages, which the frequency of digital messaging has increased dramatically. People infer different meaning to different words in a digital communication, and understanding that can either help build a better relationship or can actually damage a relationship. In addition to relationship building, we also look to develop leadership skills. And so some of the common refrains that we hear from business community members is that our students of today don't have those soft skills, relationship building, leadership skills. We're very intentional about creating programs that develop those types of skills in our students so that they are delivering value to the businesses from the first day they step in. And the last component that we incorporate that is in addition to those 7 pillars of the university's mission statement is to provide real world experiences to our students. You ask a PhD, what does that really mean? We talk about experiential learning or action-based learning, but really all it is getting them embedded with real businesses to solve real problems with the guidance of faculty members to help them go through the conceptual material but apply it in a real world setting so that they already have done that before they step into their jobs.
And I know a little bit about the Stetson-Hatcher School, and I know that you've got a lot of your professors, instructors are moonlighting, I guess you might say, in that real world, quote unquote, and or they're freshly arrived out of that. So you've got that going for you as well, right?
That's the benefit of having our graduate and professional schools in Atlanta. We have a fertile ground of experts who have either thought maybe one day I would like to teach or currently I would like to teach. And so we have working professionals that teach in our Masters of Accounting program. We have practicing accountants and partners at accounting firms that are partnering with our full-time faculty to teach in that program. Likewise, in analytics or healthcare, management, we have practicing professionals from those fields that come in and partner with us. And we're able to do that because of where we're located here in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So let's talk about the different degree programs. And you mentioned accounting. I know you're like everybody else struggling to get people to get into accounting, right? Even though that may be the exact place a lot of people need to go these days, young people. I hope you're listening. But let's talk about where you're seeing demand and maybe where you're recommending a lot of your undecideds to go.
So that's an interesting point that you brought up, because our highest demand in our graduate programs has been in our Masters of Accounting program.
Really? You're running against the trend then?
It's also because of what we've done.
Okay.
As far as what modality. So do we offer it in person? Do we offer it in person during the day, in the evening in person, or online? And so we made a conscious decision 10 years before COVID to get into online education in higher ed. So the rest of the industry might have needed COVID to consider online education. We were in online education 10 years prior to that.
Oh, wow.
And so what we're seeing is the highest growth is in online programs. And it's because we have, over 10 years, fine-tuned what high-quality education online looks like versus just trying to convert a class that I used to teach in person and throw it online. That might not be a high quality experience. And so we're focused on that. We've done it for 10 years prior to COVID. And so our model is being received very well in the marketplace. And so we've had a tremendous growth in our Masters of Accountancy program.
Congratulations. That's fantastic. Yeah. You really are running against the trend because it's hard to convince young people that accounting is an exciting place to be, right? And the truth of the matter is there's a shortage of accountants right now.
And it depends on how you conceive of accounting.
Right.
I'm a management professor. But what people don't understand is in my MBA, I have a concentration in internal auditing. So I've been in accounting. And some aspects might not seem exciting and interesting, but we're getting into analytics of accounting data and dashboard creation of accounting information so that it can be utilized by managers more effectively. So rather than just waiting for our financial statements to be created by the accounting department, we are now educating our accounting majors to create usable dashboards for those managers so that it's not this, just put it in file 13 and then we'll look at it if something arises. No, they have actionable information about the progress of the company in a live dashboard. And that's really critically important for businesses to make data-driven decisions rather than decisions without that financial data.
I didn't mean to take you down the accounting trail, but you offer a lot more than just accounting programs and degrees. But are there other particular programs that you're seeing a lot of demand for right now?
So when I mentioned analytics and accounting, we also have a Master's of Science in Business Analytics.
Okay.
And we see a tremendous growth potential there. We've experienced growth already, as many universities have, but as we move to more and more data because of our digitalized society, there are more opportunities to make inferences from that data or predictive models so that we can start to understand the trend. The prior trend can also help us predict what we should expect to see. And so business data analytics is a high growth area, but again, we offer two different versions of that program. We offer a in-person daytime program, but we also offer an online program. And our online program has been growing tremendously because what it enables people to do is if they're currently in a career and they don't have the luxury of stepping out of a career and going full-time to school, we provide that opportunity online. And so all of our programs are Masters of Accountancy, our Masters of Science in Business Analytics, our MBA, all of those are offered in multiple modalities, and a key dimension of growth has been our online versions of those programs.
So have your online versions, Brett, have they helped you expand the geography of Mercer in terms of students that are attracted to Mercer?
That's a great question, John. And the data says, not really. So what it means is that we're delivering programs in the manner that students of today desire. So we've just did a scatter plot of all of our students to see how, in relation to our location, how far are they? They're all within a 50-mile radius. So it's drivable. But in Atlanta traffic, not everybody wants to do that drivable. And so making these online versions and keeping the quality at the high level that Mercer's known for is what's critically important to the students that we see enrolling in these programs.
Yeah, that's terrific. So, Brett, what you talked about engagement with local businesses and corporations. What does that look like? How does that take form in the classroom? I'm sure it's different depending on the degree and the instructor or what have you, but talk about how that generally unfolds.
Okay, so that's one of the areas that we're really prideful about, because in our residential undergraduate program in Macon, we require a capstone course in every single major that is experiential. That means they're embedded with a local organization, whether or not it's for-profit, it's an entrepreneur, it's a major company, or even a nonprofit. And so they have to deal with real businesses, real data, and they have to analyze that and provide recommendations. For the traditional undergraduate student that probably does not have working experience, having that embedded as a requirement is critically important. In our graduate programs, we do it depending on the nature of the program. And for our MS in Business Analytics, that's a full-time program. When they're in that residential full-time program, we embed it in that program fully. So they have a capstone project, they have to use live data, real data, and they have to make recommendations in their final presentation. However, in some other programs, like our online MBA program, we have working professionals. They're embedded in the workplace every single day, and they're taking online classes at night. To mandate an embedded experience for them might be more frustrating, but it also gets into non-disclosure agreements. And are they working for a competitor? So it is not as easy or as advisable to do it in those. So we make those critical decisions of which programs will be best served by that type of deep experience with a real business versus what other programs that it's not as appropriate.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I want to pause though and turn to Jeff Wolfe here, and let's talk about the Center for Executive Education. So once Brett and his folks get done with all these great students and send them out into the world and they get some experience, then they come back and realize they've got some places where the world has grown, their business has grown, and they need to maybe fill in a few holes here and there.
It's true, and quite a bit of them do. I guess to give you a brief overview, what the center does, I look at it as a small business that we tie in what the School of Business offers from a degree standpoint to now provide additional skill training, maybe in a specific area that they got their degree in that they want to learn more about. We get a lot of questions about how our programs work and what the benefits are of those programs. But it seems to come down to what they really want is a hands-on, skills-based type of program. So our programs revolve around a little bit of lecture, whether it's in person, whether it's virtual, and in some cases it could be a hybrid, a little bit of both. But ultimately, along with those lectures, we give them activities, we give them exercises to work on, to where as they're going through the exercise, that aha moment comes on where they really take a look and say, I know how I can apply that into my day-to-day work life. And that's a big part of what they've asked us to do. And the faculty that we work with from Mercer are already teaching at a high level for the degree programs. So we are taking from the best, and they are then taking those individual skills and then presenting them back in could be a 1-hour webinar. It could be a 5-day, 8-hour session that individuals want more material on. So it really takes us to that next level to where now they can say, I've applied it, I've used it. And then in some cases, we give them time in between their sessions to really go back and apply it, whether it's showing their boss or their colleagues. And then when they come back, we need them to explain and tell us a little bit more about what worked, what didn't work. And then we build on that.
So This is fascinating because business, I guess, operates at the speed of sound sometimes, right? Maybe even speed of light. And so how do you decide what direction you're going to go in terms of the certificates that you offer and even the focus of those certificates? Because Brett mentioned business analytics. That's a big subject, right? And so how do you narrow that in to what is timely for business executives and leaders?
So it is a moving target. Mm-hmm. We do have our core programs that we work with. A couple of the major ones, Lean Six Sigma. And for those that aren't familiar with it, we have a variety of programs that's based upon continuous process improvement. It's looking at the way you've done your job or the way a program works or the way something is scheduled and really taking a closer look to find out, is there a more efficient way? Are we getting all the benefits of the program involved? And are we looking at it from a standpoint of, are we saving time? Are we improving on efficiencies? Are we reducing the errors? A simple situation in a Lean Six Sigma program on process improvement could be a bakery, for instance, as simple as that. Mm-hmm. If you went into a bakery and you saw cookies in the counter there and you saw these beautiful big chocolate chip cookies, and there's so many of them, and they're loaded with chocolate chips, and they're $3.50. You might say, that looks like a good deal. And then you look around, and behind the counter, the individual is starting to load up your cookies, but they get this smaller one. What happened there? Now, you don't want to spend a lot of time and a lot of money trying to figure that out, but that person on the other end who is buying it sits back and says, that's not what I paid for. It goes back to systems in some cases. It also goes back to controls. So back in the bakery, is that a product you want to display? And if those errors type of things, the cookie probably still tastes delicious. Maybe it doesn't have as many chocolate chips and maybe it's smaller, but you don't want to present that. In a way, I can oversimplify it like that. Mm-hmm. But these programs, Lean Six Sigma, started with Toyota, going back to Japan, where they were looking at making sure that last car that came off the assembly line was exactly the same as the first car that came off the line. And there's a lot of processes and systems that have to go into place. To answer your question, Lean Six Sigma is probably one of our biggest ones, where we do a yellow belt, which is an 8-hour, one-day program. We get involved with a green belt, that is a 4-day program. Yep. And then we also get involved with a black belt that takes it to the next degree for getting more involved in the data analytics. So
I have to ask, because this is the hot topic of the day, AI. Where surely you have an AI certificate, right?
We do.
Of course you do.
And it has become a really hot topic, of course, and there's a lot of conversation going on within the university about how to make sure that the students are using it properly and acknowledging it, and how the faculty is to use it and experience it. We're getting involved now from a standpoint of an AI program, a certificate program for beginners and intermediates, where a lot of it is going to be based around what is AI, how does it work, how will you benefit from it, and a lot of the focus is going to be the prompting of the questions, because we need to ask the right questions to get the right information back.
Right.
And then you need to continue to drill down to really get to that point of what you're looking for. The other aspect of AI, of course, is that it's everywhere now. We can't just take it for granted that, like somebody says, oh, just Google it and it must be right. You have to look at this information and make sure that the information you're presenting back is accurate. So there's a variety of checks and balances, and you want to make sure the information that you're putting out sounds like you.
Yeah, and Google it is getting to be an obsolete verb. Sorry, Google. But this is a great example, it seems to me, which is one reason I bring it up. This is a great example of why certificate programs, it seems to me, are so important, is because today, there are a whole lot of suddenly out of the woodwork. There are tons of AI experts. It's amazing how that works, right? But when you have a certificate, or maybe more than one, from the Mercer University Stetson-Hatcher School of Business in AI, then you've got credentials.
So from a certificate standpoint, it says something. And the individuals that receive their certificate are not only proud of it, but it displays to others that they've gained an additional knowledge, that they've applied it, they've used it. And we find very often that by them including that either on the resume, when they go in for an interview, it allows additional conversation and it allows them to be able to explain and really highlight what skill they've learned. And certainly many people have degrees from a university, whether it's a bachelor's, whether it's a master's, and going on to a PhD. But in many cases, when we talk about professional development, that certificate tells you, I have a skill at a variety of levels in a particular expertise.
And I'm going to tell you, John,
Yeah.
for AI, I would love to say that all of the expertise resides in the Stetson-Hatcher School of Business about AI, but that's not a true statement.
Yeah.
And the benefit of being at a university like Mercer, we have an expert in our School of Engineering, Dr. Anthony Choi. And he's the one who's actually teaching in our AI certificate program.
Oh, wow.
And so it takes it from an engineering standpoint of view, but he puts it in business terms. So he explains AI is basically a large language module that is looking at frequency of uses of words together everywhere on the internet. And so it starts to make the layperson say, wait, I can understand that. Artificial intelligence, hard for me to understand. But the mechanics of how it does it, which is what Dr. Choi is fantastic at, is understanding the mechanics is crucial to understanding how do I leverage it and how, like Jeff said, how do I discern whether or not the output is accurate or actionable? Not all of the output from AI should be actionable.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to get to the mechanics or the details, maybe is a better word, of the certificate programs themselves. So I'm assuming, Jeff, that you've got a variety of delivery methods for your certificate programs, just like happens in the rest of the School of Business.
Yeah, that we do. And the primary one is in person. We have checked with our participants before and after they've taken a program, how they prefer it. A number of them they want to have in person. So our Lean Six Sigma, for the most part, is in person. It can be done on a virtual basis. The Greenbelt, we have a project presentation at the end of the 4 sessions. It works better in person, but again, can be done on a virtual basis. A couple of programs that work very well for us on a virtual basis are a conflict resolution, which is a series of 6 sessions that we work on where they have 1 hour of recorded material to review prior to the 1 hour session. So there's a total of 12 hours for that. Again, could be in person as well, but we have found that the individuals who are taking it quite often, like Brett mentioned, are working individuals, and to be able to do this during the day just doesn't fit into their schedule. So we've worked it around their schedule where we started at 6 o'clock in the evening, and it seems to really fit very nicely for that. Similarly to a leadership program that we work on, that is a series of 5 2.5-hour sessions, and that goes from 4 to 6:30. Again, we try to accommodate those individuals that have expressed the interest in it and to be able to accommodate them in that respect. A number of the other programs, we are heavily involved with project management, where a number of individuals are taking it because they've been involved with project management, but without the formal training and the expertise that goes along with it. They've worked on projects, but they haven't learned the specifics and the details and getting involved in really fine-tuning it, and in some cases being a leader. Maybe they've been on a project team but haven't led it. And this helps them to lead because they get that opportunity at the end to also work on a group project and present at that time. Again, that it all ties back into really applied learning, where we want them to experience and utilize the skills that they've learned and show us and show the faculty and the subject matter experts how they have taken that information and applied it. And in many cases, they're going back to their jobs and they're doing a project back there and they're going on. And one other very important aspect of the project management program is, and while not for everybody, there's a number of people who want to be officially certified. This is through the Project Management Institute,
right,
that they will go after their PMP. And that's an official certification that only the Project Management Institute offers. We provide the prep training for it. And in a couple of recent programs we did where we had, I think, a total of about 50 people that went through the program, we had 5 that sat through and took their exam for their PMP certification and achieved it. So it is a great success story in that respect that they earned that.
Yeah, you set me up for my next question, which is, and I want to get to you on this as well, Brett, when it comes to undergraduate and graduate degree programs. But let's talk about success stories. You mentioned PMP, but what kind of feedback are you getting from executives, business leaders that have gone through these certificate programs in terms of how that has impacted their knowledge base in their career?
So it happens in a variety of ways. And it's interesting that you mentioned executives. The best way these programs work and are supported is when the executive of a company is the one who's aware of them, has gone through it to be able to then promote it to their team. And we have found this through one of our longtime partners right now, Greystone Power. And we've worked with them on their project, on their Lean Six Sigma Greenbelt. And from the president, CEO on down, you want to talk about success stories, where we just finished one program for the Greenbelt. And I had the opportunity to sit and talk to the president about it. And he said, I went through this a number of years ago. It was something I really felt was important. And he said, now that we've been doing this for about 10 years, the savings that we have generated for the company, for our customers, and the time savings and the value that they add, not only to their people, but of course to the bottom line of their customers. That's who they're serving. That's what they want to make sure of. They said has been invaluable. And with that kind of support of having the senior executives wanting these programs and recognizing the value, it's taken to great heights. I think where some of the challenges come in for us is when we have individuals and companies who do want to sit through these programs, and they do, that when they bring it back, it may not always be understood. And they're trying to, in a way, teach others why they should be doing it, and they're trying to get the buy-in. Right. So that's a big part of what we do, is encouraging that buy-in at a senior level and showing them the benefits of why these programs will help them in the bottom line. And I know Brett would echo this. When we talk to people, it's a question of, how can we help you? The resources, as you heard Brett talk about, there's just so many from an academic side. And then what we bring to the table on the non-credit side is just, it's so invaluable. But we're not here to tell corporations or individuals, here's what you need. This is what we offer. We want to know they have a pain point, they have a challenge. What is it that will really help them?
Sure. Brett, I want to get to the success stories you're hearing from those degreed programs.
I love talking about our students and successes because many of us in higher ed have chosen this field to impact others' lives. And especially at Mercer, we're a values-based driven higher education institution. And so we have our students, we can go down the list. We have Mercerians that are leading companies throughout Georgia. And some of them are alums from 10 or 20 years ago. But I'm going to talk about some recent alums because knowing that we're still providing opportunities that far exceed what that individual had before they engaged with Mercer University is what we're all about. Yeah. And so one of the strongest commitments that we have in the Stetson-Hatcher School of Business is to have students participate with faculty on research projects. And we've had students presenting at research conferences about in-depth works that they have contributed to with a faculty member, they've actually led to publications, whether or not they're in an academic journal, whether or not they're in a proceeding of a conference about economic development. We have examples. Robert Zell comes to mind. He was a double bear. So you mentioned the bear.
Yeah.
He's a double bear. We give
love that.
incentives
Yeah.
for people not only to be in our undergraduate degree programs, but if you want to continue with us and get a graduate degree, there's an incentive plan for you to be a double bear with us. One of our current lecturers in Stetson-Hatcher, he's a triple bear. So we love to have those success stories internally that lead to opportunities. The individuals that we have in our MSBA program, I just talked with our faculty member in that program yesterday. We have 5 of our soon-to-be graduates accepted into PhD programs in business analytics across the nation.
Wow.
So those success stories, both in business, but also pursuing further degrees, those are the outcomes that we want to have on people's lives, because they're adding to the knowledge base, they're adding to values in companies, and adding value to society.
Wow. Brett Matherne and Jeff Wolfe with the Stetson-Hatcher School of Business at Mercer University. Wow, this has been fantastic. And I can't imagine that there aren't some folks that listening to this interview wouldn't want to know more and be in touch. So let's respectively, if we can, give some directions on where folks can find information.
Absolutely. On our website, first place to look at business.mercer.edu. Come check out all of our programs. Our degree programs are listed there. Our Center for Executive Education. We have a Center for Liberty, also as part of the Stetson-Hatcher School of Business. So you can see everything we're about. If you want more information, we have connections to our admissions office there. We also have career counselors that help our students get placements. So we have all of that listed on our website.
Terrific. And Jeff, I assume Brett just covered the executive piece of that too. So it's right there. People can find it. Hit the link.
It's all under Mercer. Our specific one is ce.mercer.edu. Our programs are beginning in January. So spring is full with 5 or 6 different programs. So go to the website, take a look, register. If they have any questions, my contact is on there and they can reach out to me as well.
And if you're listening to this interview in, let's say, later in 2025, check the website, folks. Mercer's on the move. You can never tell what new offerings might be there, right?
You're absolutely right.
Brett Matherne and Jeff Wolfe, again, from the Stetson-Hatcher School of Business at Mercer University. Thank you both so much for coming. We're just delighted we could shine a light on that fantastic work.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. Good to be here.
Go Bears.
Yeah, go Bears. Go be the bear. A double bear, triple bear. I'm really impressed with that. Hey, folks, just a couple of quick things before we let you go for today. I've got a book out, and if you are a solo or small professional services firm and you have issues with your value, your positioning, your business development, or your pricing, I've written this book just for you. It's called The Generosity Mindset, A Journey to Business Success by Raising Your Confidence, Value, and Prices. The book is available where all fine books are sold, and go check it out. If you want more, you can go to thegenerositymindset.com to learn more. Also, I want to thank you, our listener. If you're listening to this show, I appreciate you because you have supported us over the years, and next May is going to be 9 years for North Fulton Business Radio, and I don't know what I thought when we started this show, but I wasn't thinking 9 years, and I wasn't thinking 800 plus episodes of this show. And we've only gotten this far because of you. You continue to love us on social media, share the shows. I can't imagine you wouldn't want to share this show with somebody that needs some executive education or maybe a degreed program in business. But in any case, we appreciate the way that you support us, and we couldn't do that work without you. So we're here to be the voice of business in the North Fulton region and beyond, and we can't do that work without you. So thank you. Thank you for your support. So for my guests, Brett Matherne and Jeff Wolfe, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on North Fulton Business Radio.